or when you start from a place of in-service, then you won't have any problem marketing the book. Because if I know I want to help women who've suffered a broken heart to get well, I already know who my target is, and I'm going to be thinking about them. I'm going to write a reader-centric book. And then when I get up to talk about the book, and when people ask me what the book is about, it's not a problem, because I begin with serving in mind. What if writing a book is not just a way to transform the lives of many people, but also a way to create financial freedom and leave a legacy? Wouldn't you want to find out just how to do that? Well, that's what this show is all about.
Hi, I'm Hennika Watkis, Porter, speaker, coach, author of Podcast Power, and the host of the Entrepreneurial You podcast, inviting you to listen to the Authorpreneur Secret Podcast, brought to you by Ruth Taylor, best-selling indie author and the Caribbean's most trusted voice on entrepreneurship. Tune in for inspiration, information, and innovation to write and win with books. Get ready to dominate entrepreneurship.
Meet Ruth Taylor, aka the Rocket Writer, a Jamaican entrepreneurship expert. Ruth has created the Authorpreneur Secrets Academy and the first Caribbean Authorpreneur Summit around her book, Authorpreneur Secrets. Write fast, publish affordably, and generate lasting income. As an Amazon best-selling author of 21 books, she has coached several Caribbean authors to become Amazon best-selling authors. Her mission is to raise up 10,000 winning Caribbean entrepreneurs by 2030 to ensure fewer books die in the minds of their authors, that more manuscripts become published legacies, and precious lives are transformed with the turn of every page. Let's welcome Ruth Taylor.
All right, that's a wonderful video introduction for our very special guest. And I am so excited to be introducing Ruth. And just in case nobody here knows, Ruth is probably the main reason why I've decided to write my book, because I've had my skills sitting there and she's like, no, this cannot work. This is not possible. Ruth, thank you so much for not only putting on this session, but for being here to impart your knowledge and what you have learned on your entrepreneurship journey. Welcome.
Thank you so much, Raquel. It's good to be in the other chair. Yes, being the one being interviewed instead of asking the questions.
All right. Awesome. So I want to jump right into it because I know you have a lot to share. And trust me, guys, if we literally don't have time to listen to all of the wonderful advice that Ruth has, we will share with you how you can get more of Ruth. But Ruth, can you tell us a little bit about your author journey? Why did you write your book? How did you get started?
Okay, thank you so much. Well, for me, it began with a heartbreak. Well, let's backtrack a little bit. I was told in about 2004 by the then acting principal or head of the Jamaica Theological Seminary, Dr. Damien Black, that I could write. So he encouraged me to do a particular master's program. And he said, I want you to do that because I believe you can write. I didn't really believe him. Then another friend of mine, at the time when I finished my first degree, I was doing research, trying to get into Yale. I got handbooks from them and everything. And she wrote in one of the handbooks, she said, I believe I will see your books in the future.
Oh, wow.
And I was like, really? Me? Writing just seems so daunting. And it was there. I thought about it. When I was going to Namibia and Zambia, I actually wrote a book outline on the plane, but I didn't get much farther with it. Then after my second broken engagement fell through, after the wedding dress was bought, hotel booked, church booked, bridesmaid in place, the whole thing one morning as I was praying, I remembered a quote from a book I read years ago by William Barclay. It said, endurance is not just the ability to bear a hard thing, but to turn it into glory. And I remember something a mentor said to me, and immediately I knew how I was going to turn this thing into glory. And I was 33 at the time. This was about April 29. And I said, okay, I'm going to set a task to write my first book, the draft, get it out in time for my birthday. So I did my outline and everything. It was my memoir. So I contacted my mom, asked her if she would be okay with this. And she said, yeah, it's fine. If the book is going to help somebody, go ahead and do it. So within 11 days, in time for my birthday, I wrote almost 68,000 words.
Wow.
And then after that, so the aim was to share my story. It was called Heartache Queen Unshackled, so that I could help persons to find healing, anybody going through heartaches and pain, and get a sense of wholeness and healing, or put them on that journey, because I wasn't fully healed yet, but I was at a point where I was functional, given the impact of that on me, because the thing so really impacted me. I remember going to bed saying, God, I hate you for doing this to me, and I hate him, and just take me. And I remember early in the morning, the thought just came to me, and I believe it was a word from God where he said, I'm giving you extra time to go the extra mile. So I'm not going to let you die now. And so with over a 9-month period, we started preparing that book for publication. And there were some hiccups along the way, as you heard from Didan. I took a path of working with a publishing company, and the cost was quite prohibitive. I had just resigned from being a missionary. I didn't have a job. And when I looked at the cost to publish, plus some of the madness that I did, you are talking about $10,000 US. That included printing 1,200 books, having a 2-day launch, getting a top graphic designer from Jamaica, one of the best on the island. So, the best people don't come at cheap rates.
Right.
So I paid over, the cost at the time was about $140,000 for the book cover and the illustrations alone. And then I had to, Darren was saying to me wasn't clicking, that I could just go on Amazon and print single books. I wanted to print 5,000 books and sell 5,000 books. And so I was willing to raise the funds. When I looked at all of that, by that time it was about 2 million Jamaican dollars. And
Wow.
The process left me, it was painful, but the book, I had joy in seeing the book delivered. And I started from there just looking for a way out to help myself to make it cheaper. So I took charge of the process next time, and I started helping others. So that's what happened in terms of me writing the book. It was part of my healing, and I wanted other women especially, to understand that there is hope. So when I signed that book, I normally put in that book Psalm 147 verse 3, God heals the brokenhearted and binds up their wounds. So that was my mission in writing the book, and then trying to sell 5,000 copies, which didn't happen.
Wow. So right then you're telling me that, your mission wasn't really just about selling books, but the primary thing was to help people to overcome, to say, look, yes, you're heartbroken, no, but there is hope. That's
Yes.
awesome. So what would you say, because you mentioned the cost of publishing, was that the most disappointing thing about your writing experience, or what was the most disappointing thing that you've experienced during the writing or the publishing of the book? Because I would think it would be the cost, but hey, maybe it's something different. So what was it?
That's a good question. I'm getting all emotional. The most painful thing on the journey was my decisions and the printing part, to be honest. The route and the vendor that we chose. My publishing house, for some reason, my publisher favored me. So she pretty much gave me leg room to do as much as I wanted to do. In essence, God was preparing me to become a publisher. And so she gave me the right to choose my design or choose my printing option. So I started a GoFundMe campaign trying to raise, I think at the time we had put maybe 5,000 or 10,000 US dollars. And this particular printer saw the GoFundMe campaign and he vied for the project. In the process, because I was a missionary trying to raise funds, things went sour. Like most new authors, although I consulted, I set a date for the launch that was not reasonable. And so I couldn't raise enough money in time. I wouldn't even see a copy of the book before the launch. Because when you're doing a print book, you need to actually see it because you don't catch everything on the screen. So I didn't see a physical copy of the book until maybe about an hour before going on stage at the first book launch, because I had 2 big book launches. So the painful thing was trying to come up with this money, because it was as if you don't come up with X amount of money, we won't print. And the printing system was you had to print a print run. It's not like with Amazon where I allow you to print just 1 book if you want 1 book. So I had to print in bulk, and then it had to be perfect. And then it wasn't perfect. So that experience was quite a painful, agonizing experience. I remember nights, even as I talking about it, I'm almost in tears. I remember literally being on the floor, bawling and rolling and saying, God, help me to get out of this mess that I got myself involved in. And I had certain mentors who had to intervene for me, and I had people praying me through. So it was like you're giving birth to a baby, but it has so much complications. And at one stage too, with the whole writing, because it was my story, I was like, am I fully healed? My story is painful, trust me. So do I really want to get this out there? And so the guilt and the self-doubt about a month before the launch, because it was published on Amazon in January 2015 and the launch was in March. About a month before the publishing go ahead, I told my publisher, don't bother. And I was like, I can't do this. And then I remember my pastor said, Mika, because Mika, all the other stuff that you did, I went to 19 different countries, including on 4 different continents, and I didn't have the money, including to Africa. That trip was about 6,000 US dollars. And he said, all the trips that you went on, did you have the money to do it? And I said, no. He said, the same God who did that for you is going to get you through this. God would not teach you how to swim to cause you to drown at this stage. And so with his support, prophetic words, a pastor spoke to me and he said, I'm sorry, I wasn't prepared for this.
No, you're sharing.
When I was wondering if I should go forward, he said, God says to tell you that the books inside you need to come forth for greater impact. It's not about your dream. It's not about being successful. That the books inside you must come forth for greater impact. And at one stage, he had a vision of me writing when I'm old. So with all of those things, I was able to push past, overcome the hurdle. And my team encouraged me. And the rest is history.
Yes. Sorry. And no, don't be sorry. Guys, this is why Ruth Taylor is a best-selling author. This is why Ruth Taylor has been able to impact lives. This is why Ruth Taylor is a success that she is, because she has a powerful story, because she's genuine. She's using her life experiences, her failures. You realize she said that she was in tears, rolling on the ground. And, I know that this is why she has started the ASA, the Authorpreneur Secret Academy, because guess what? A lot of the trials and tribulations that she has been through, she wants to spare you. Now, our first speaker, Didan Ashanta, it seemed to be an easier process for her. Remember, Didan said, for those who were in the session, that everybody's story is different. Everybody's journey is different. Didan absorbed information, and she went into it with the thing that I can do this. She had a certain set of skills that, you know, Ruth doesn't have. I don't have it because Didan is a trained designer. So, you know, it's just to say that we each will take on this writing process differently, this entrepreneurship process differently.
Yeah.
But be guided by your story, because it is in the truth and the honesty of your story that you will do what I like to do, build a tribe,
Yes.
gain a following, and do what Ruth does, is impact lives so that you can have greater impact and income. So I just had to, you know, remind us of that pivot for a little bit. So Ruth, don't worry about getting emotional. So awesome. So Ruth, from that all-inspiring and very emotional and impactful story, give me, I would say, about 3 lessons that you have learned that you would want to give to, aspiring authors, people who are still writing. What 3 main lessons or takeaways or advice, if you will, would you give to them?
Thank you. Good question. In my book, Authorpreneur Secrets, I put down my top 10 publishing mistakes and lessons learned on how not to do it. So I'm just going to pull 3 from it. Ignorance of the publishing process. I didn't understand the process. And that's number 1. Many times you spend more than you should and you make a lot of mistakes because you haven't taken the time to fully understand the process. You don't understand the difference between traditional publishing and independent publishing or self-publishing. So many Caribbean authors, they say they want a publisher and yet they're going to pay money. In international, when you use the term publisher, you don't pay a publisher to publish. They pay you, they give you a royalty, all the money flows to you. But when we use the term publishing in the Caribbean, we are talking about paying to publish. We want a company or a person to spearhead the process and make our book available to the public. That is still a form of independent publishing or self-publishing. Once you are paying a cent, you're self-publishing, even if a company is doing it for you. So I didn't fully understand that in the beginning. So hence, you know, you had to go find the money, even though you have a company working with. The second one was expensive outsourcing.
Oh my goodness.
You can get quality for less, because with my second book, Tree Stock, the cover cost me about $15,000 and it less money. The quality was still good. It ended up being number 12 on the Amazon top 100 list. And the final lesson here I will use is number 8. I didn't have any reader response game plan. So when people started calling me, no game plan beyond selling the book. Although I had a purpose, I wanted women to read it and I wanted them to be healed. It was more about them buying the book and just reading that. And in reading my story, they would be inspired, they would get the message, and that's it. So I want to sell as many books as possible for that. So people started reading the book and calling me now. People wanted to set up a session with me to discuss their issue and guide them through. I never had a plan for that. I never had a back-end business. I didn't have an office for them to come and meet me. Back then, it was a COVID time, so meeting was more. I couldn't do that. And so I said, I have to do, it seemed as if writing the book is not enough, which is if you're approaching it from an entrepreneur mindset, you already have a program in mind, a product and a service from your writing the book. Me never have that. I didn't have that. And so I would say that's a lesson I learned. Don't just write the book and think that the book is the be end of it all, them just reading it. So I learned the hard way that, listen, people want more than to just read the book.
Awesome. And those are powerful lessons indeed. Have a plan, know the publishing process, and things can get expensive. I've learned that too. And you know what? I would say, don't be afraid of it. And this is why, again, we're here to let you know, don't be afraid of it. It can be hard if you don't know what you're doing, like our
Right.
dear speaker here. It was a challenge for her, but with guidance, it will be so much easier. So Ruth, because guess what? You said you didn't have a back end for anything. You didn't have, people were calling you, but you didn't know what to do. So from your book or books, tell us now. I may have an idea, I know, but for all the other people, I won't spoil it for them. What products and services came from your book or your books?
All right, thank you. I discovered that I could do about 30 different things with a book, more than 30, and I tested 15 of them. Well, from the first one, I started speaking and then making that professional, because I've been speaking from I was 21 years old in churches, different things, but I wasn't charging. And that kind of speaking was more along preaching and missions. No, people wanted to hear more about what I'd written in the book. So being paid to speak. Then with this book, I started a coaching program. So helping other persons, because I had changed careers, I had shifted, some lessons learned along my journey. I started coaching. And then, of course, I started offering publishing services, but on a limited scale, because I found the publishing process, unlike Didan, it was painful for me, the editing and all of that stuff. So even though I found a publishing service company that I could work with, ND Author Services, and they did my interior, my cover design, so I still have to oversee it and proofread and stuff like that. So I was challenging. So I started a publishing service company offering publishing services and publishing for others. In the publishing services, there are certain skills. So I started offering certain skills like book formatting and editing, because I was told that I'm a good editor. I don't like it, but I started offering editing skills. Started offering courses. 2017, I created a course around this book. And number 6, I did a boot camp, a one-day intensive training, and I was based on a book. So it's like for every program that I want, I create a book. So masterclasses, workshops, seminars, summits. Yeah, those are some of the programs that I created. Not only that, in terms of impact, I created a mentoring program around Design to Win for youth. I actually created a paid course around it, personal development course that I was able to teach and get paid for outside of my own efforts. I said the mentoring, I had a conference, because I have two focus, right? Although everything is ministry, there is what I do for money and what I just do out of passion to help others. So I had to find a way, my love for youth. So I use my books to create stuff for them. I've created events from the book. So like a tour. The recent one was a books and travel tour where you go to see the places behind the books. So yeah, quite a bit. Affiliate, I get a commission too for some things. Yeah, quite a number of things.
Awesome. And that's a lot to take in. And, again, after, as we continue, you'll find out more on how to get more in depth into this and, to learn the 30 ways. I'm sure there's somebody, and let me hear yes in the chat, who would want to know the 30 different ways to win with books. Can I see any yeses in the chat, people? Come on. Let's hear it. Who wants to win with books beyond book sales? Because I tell you, book sales alone, like putting that book up at Amazon and waiting for mommy and daddy and your aunt and uncle to buy. I'm seeing a couple of yeses. This is awesome.
And several of them are in this book, Raquel. Several of them are in this book. If they get Write and Retire Right, all 30s in there. If they get Penny to Win, all 30s in there. I normally give away 15, but then they have to buy books to any one of these books to get the other set.
Awesome. You see that? So you can get 15 for free, and the other 15, it's lumped up into one of her books. This is great. This is good stuff. All right. So I know I could talk to you forever, but we have to be respectful of other people's time. But I don't think I could end this interview, because I know you and you always talk about keys. And so, I couldn't have left without asking you to give us some keys. So come on, can you give me 3 keys to win with your books?
All right, I'm going to pick up where Didan left off. Mm-hmm. So you need mates, you need mentors, and I say models. Mentors and models. So I add to that by saying models. You need success models. So for example, one of my success models is a lady by the name of Joanna Penn. She's British. I look at I have bought almost every one of Joanna Penn's nonfiction books. I don't buy her fiction books because I'm not into dark fiction and horror stuff. So I look at what she has done and how she uses books. So she is the one who started also popularizing the whole authorpreneurship thing. And so models, mentors, in terms of learning the publishing process, the head of the author service company, he began teaching me, but he began teaching me because I was asking the questions. So I wouldn't just ask him to format the book and pay him to format the book. I would ask him certain questions related to the formatting. I would ask him, can you explain a step-by-step publishing process? And I have distilled all of that in Authorpreneur Secrets, published affordably. Mates, the mentors, and the models, that's one. The second thing is most important. You need to understand how are you going to serve people with your books. Because when you understand or when you start from a place of in-service, then you won't have any problem marketing the book. Because if I know I want to help women who've suffered a broken heart to get well, I already know who my target is, and I'm going to be thinking about them. I'm going to write a reader-centric book. And then when I get up to talk about the book and when people ask me what the book is about, it's not a problem because I begin with serving in mind. Or you could put that with mission and purpose. I call that a map. And the final thing I would say in terms of the key here to win with books, there are many keys, but the final one I would say is in terms of the cost. Don't ever think that you have to spend a whole heap of money to get quality. You can get quality without breaking the bank.
Okay.
In terms of publishing.
Awesome. All right. You hear that, guys? You can get quality without breaking the bank. Didan this morning, she spent a total of $30 to get her book published. Ruth, remind me, what was the cost for your second, was it the second or the fifth book to get it published?
Authorpreneur Secrets, $32.
It was $32. All right. So guys, it is possible. But let me tell you, even though you can get it cheap sometimes is always good. I spent $25 on my book. It's pretty bad. So, you really want guidance. And both Ruth and Didan have been saying this from morning that you really need guidance when it comes to writing, when it comes to publishing, and even, taking the process of winning with books beyond just book sales.
Book publishing has many paths. And just figuring out where to go at each stage can be confusing. But with insights and guidance from author experts just like us, you can tackle the writing process competently and be assured that the goal of being a published author is within reach. Welcome to the Caribbean Authorpreneur Summit, the place for Caribbean authors to shine. With each staging of our summit, leading Caribbean author experts at home and in the diaspora share their stories and strategies to win with books beyond book sales. In the process, aspiring and published authors are inspired and lives are transformed. The Caribbean Authorpreneur Summit will ensure that fewer books die in the minds of their authors, more manuscripts become published legacies, and precious lives are transformed with the turn of each page. In 2022, get ready to create, thrive, and win with books beyond book sales.
I'm Tamara Francis, educator and editor. Don't forget to rate, review, subscribe, and share the podcast with your network. If you'd like to increase your impact and income with books, visit AuthorpreneurSecret.com for more resources, including the books Pen It to Win It and Authorpreneur Secrets. Join the Authorpreneur Secrets Academy membership group for courses, coaching, and community support to write, publish, and win with books. Enrollment is in January and June each year. You may also sign up for one of Ruth's Publishing Made Easy courses or private coaching to write and publish your next book. Until next time, go pen it to win it.